Now the Quiz Kids.
First aid for headache, Alka-Seltzer.
First aid is seltzer.
First aid for cold,
Alka-Seltzer presents... Yes, here they are, the youngsters who have Sitmatic every Sunday. And this afternoon, they're ready to match wits and brains with members of the teaching profession. Yes, it's the Quiz Kids versus the professors once again. And here they are, the Quiz Kids, the professors, and the chief quizzer himself, Joe Kelly.
Thank you, Bob Murphy, and hello, everyone. Yes, the Quiz Kids are competing against a board of professors from Northwestern University this afternoon, and we're calling class to order in the beautiful Technological Institute auditorium here on the university campus in Evanston, Illinois. Now, members of the Women's Student Governing Association have made us feel most welcome, and Northwestern students have filled the auditorium to see and hear 5 of their favorite professors battle it out with 5 Quiz Kids. And it's time to start the competition right now, so ready for roll call. Students, we'll start out with a quiz kid, then a professor, then a quiz kid, and so on. All right, here we go. Patrick?
I'm Patrick Owen Conlon. I'm 12 years old, and I'm in 8A at the Fort Dearborn School in Chicago.
Professor McGovern?
My name is William M. McGovern. I'm supposed to teach political science here at Northwestern University.
Brenda?
I'm Brenda Leading. I'm 5 years old. Got a first grade in Gal School, Chicago.
I'm Charlotte Lee from Speech School, and I'm older than Pat.
Oh, that's cute. All right, Lonnie?
I'm Lonnie Lundy. I'm 14 years old. I'm a freshman at Maine Township High School in Park Ridge, Illinois.
Professor Hatt?
I'm Paul Hatt, and I'm aging by the minute. I'm a sociologist.
Joel?
I'm Joel Kupperman. I'm 13 years old, and I'm a sophomore at Roosevelt High School in Chicago.
Professor Evans?
W.V. Evans, Professor Emeritus of Northam Teaching Chemistry at Loyola University.
Oh, getting a plug-in for another university. I see, And, Harvey?
I'm Harvey Dyke Tiers. I'm 7 years old. I go to Hibbert School. I'm grade 2A.
And Professor Posey.
I'm Roland Posey. I'm teaching political science and a few years over 13.
Well, that's our lineup of experts. So here we go with questions, students. First hand up gets first chance to answer, so on your toes. Now, here's a question of my own I'd like to ask you, contestants. If you have read a certain book lately, you should be able to tell the significance of this number, 82070. What is the significance of that number? 82070. Professor Hatt?
My telephone number.
That's your telephone number! Sounds like the professors have brought their own cheering section. Well, I'm glad you did, because it sounds very, very good. Yes, sir? All right, well, say, the rest of you better watch out for Professor Hatt. He knows his own telephone number. Sure. Gonna have competition there now. Well, let's see what we can do with this next one. Mrs. Shirley Voss of St. Louis, Missouri, sends in this question. If a hen and a half lays an egg and a half in a day and a half for 5,347 days, how many eggs per dozen would 26 hens lay in 4 days? Professor Posey?
39 times 26, whatever that may be.
No. Now, wait a minute. We have a quiz kid's hand up here. Pat?
Well, how could a hen lay an egg and a half?
Well, now...
It's easy.
Wait a minute. Joel?
Lay an egg and a half.
Well, wait. The way I didn't quite get the question. Could you please repeat it?
Oh. if I repeat it, I give it away.
Well, listen, if a hen and a half, we can discount the middle part.
No, wait a minute. I'll repeat the question. If a hen and a half lays an egg and a half in a day and a half for 5,347 days, how many eggs per dozen would 26 hens lay in 4 days? You got it! You got it! 12 is right. 1 dozen. How do you like that? That's wonderful. I only had to repeat it once. All right, well, so far so good. Now, here's a tough-sounding question from Mrs. Leslie Jackson of Chicago. You are to identify the scientist who originated each of the following formulas. Here's the first one. E equals MC squared. Joel?
Well, I believe that's Einstein's formula.
That's right, absolutely. That's very good, Joel. Now, how about the 47th proposition in Euclid? Professor McGovern?
Euclid.
I know, I'm sorry, I can't accept that. Joel?
Well, I believe that's the Pythagorean theorem, so it'd be Pythagoras.
That's just what it is. Yes, sir. That's absolutely right. Professor McGovern, it wasn't because you couldn't pronounce that, was it?
That may have been it.
All right. Well, how about this last one? F equals K over V. How about that formula? F equals K over V. Well, let's see. I might give you a little hint. F stands for fish. K... Professor Evans?
I did.
You what?
I originated that.
That's absolutely... Professor Evans, would you be kind enough to elucidate...
Well, yes. The number of fish you catch is inversely proportional to the size of your tackle box. As the cube goes on, that's V cubed.
Yes.
And so the larger your tackle box is, the smaller the amount of fish you get.
Well, because you answered that last question correctly, we're sending Mrs. Leslie Jackson of Chicago Zenith table model radio phonograph. Now, this is really a beautiful Zenith, friends. I'm sure you'd like to own one. The record player has the famous Cobra tone arm with three-way automatic record changer for all types of records, and the fine radio gives a deep, rich tone. Now, this Zenith is always Alka-Seltzer's award when your question is answered correctly on our radio program. But when it is missed, you have your choice between the Zenith Garfield television set and the large console Zenith radio phonograph combination. The Zenith television set has a new super range chassis to ensure the ultimate in performance, the sensational built-in picture magnet aerial, single knob automatic tuning, the big B-sized giant circle screen, and the glare band black tube for clearer pictures. The large Zenith console radio phonograph is a wonderful combination. It plays all types of records and gives you AM and FM radio. So send your question in. Send it to Quiz Kids, Box Y, Chicago 77, Illinois. All right, now this question from Mrs. Adeline Dobbs of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, sounds like a riddle. When is a cardinal not cardinal? Harvey?
In molting seasons, then it's green and yellow.
That's very good, Harvey, my boy. Yes, very good. That was fine for a little 7-year-old boy. Now then, this question from Mrs. Gail Fredericks of New York requires a slight knowledge of mathematics and a lot of imagination. Describe a girl by using terms found in mathematics. Who would like to start this off? Professor Hatt?
Curves.
What? Curves, I see. Well, that's a fair starter. Patrick?
Well, might be a sweetie pie.
A sweetie pie, I get it.
Sweet as an ice cream cone.
Huh?
Sweet as an ice cream cone.
Cone, yes. Joel?
Oh, you might say she has the right altitude, not too large an area.
Professor Evans?
Parts of her are spherical,
Lonnie?
I can't get to first base with her.
I can't get to first base with her. And Pat, do you have another one?
Well, you could say something about angles.
Yes,
if
you
wanted
could.
to.
Yes. All right. Well, those were all very good. Now then, before we take up this next question, here's something for you folks listening in to remember.
First aid for cold discomfort, Alka-Seltzer. Yes, if you feel a miserable cold coming on, if someone in your family is catching cold, think first of Alka-Seltzer. It's first aid for cold discomfort. Yes, begin at once to take Alka-Seltzer according to the directions on the package. See what wonderful relief it can give from the ache-all-over, feverish misery of a cold. Rest and take care of yourself and avoid drafts, for these measures are important too. And remember, if your cold causes a raw, raspy, sore throat, dissolve 2 Alka-Seltzer tablets in a quarter glass of warm water and use this solution as a pleasant and soothing gargle. Now, be sure you have an ample supply of Alka-Seltzer so you can get the most good out of it when you have a cold. Your druggist has Alka-Seltzer in 30 and 60-cent size packages. Ask him for 2 packages instead of 1. That's good advice, and if you heed it, you'll have Alka-Seltzer when you need it.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Bob. And now, class, here's the next puzzler from our Alka-Seltzer question box. Since this is Palm Sunday, Mrs. Maud Groves of Houston, Texas, has thought of this question about churches. Can you name 2 operas in which a scene occurs in the interior of a church? Brenda?
Well, in the Meistersingers by Richard Wagner, it opens up in a church.
That's right.
In Waltz by Charles Gounod, it at the end, it's at the St. Catherine's Church.
Yeah.
And in Waltz by Charles Gounod, there's St. Andrew's Church, I think.
That's very, very good. Nice going, Brenda. Very good for a little 5-year-old girl. Now then, I have some interesting props here to help me with this question from Mrs. Marjorie Bates of San Francisco, California. And you are to tell me who you might associate with these hats. Let's see, maybe if I put them on. Now, don't laugh. It might give you a better idea of how they look. All right, Professor Posey?
That's Al Smith, Brown Derby.
Al Smith, Brown Derby, that's right, because the color of it was the clue. Now, let's see what else we have here. Oh, let's see. Oh, here's, the next one is a lady's hat, yes. I'll wait just a second now. Don't get impatient, because this looks like a sort of a banana split turned upside down or something. If I can just get the chin piece on... Oh, wait, don't laugh yet now. Professor Lee?
That's a Princess Eugenie.
Thank you very much. That's right, absolutely. Now then, on this last one, wait just a second, this front here... This is an odd fur piece. Professor Montgomery.
That's my Mongolian hat that I got some years back in Mongolia in Central Asia.
That's right. I guess almost everybody on the campus recognizes you in that hat. It's really a dandy, all right. We had quite a time smuggling it out of your house, so you wouldn't know anything about it. All right. Well, now then, Mrs. Christine... oh, wait, I'll put my own hat back on here. There. Mrs. Christine Green of Los Angeles, California, points out that this is the time of year people begin turning over the pages of their seed catalogs. Now, this question is to see whether any of you would make good farmers. I'll read the names of 2 varieties of a certain vegetable. You identify the vegetable and try to name a 3rd variety. Here we go. First, Marglobe beefsteak. Professor Posey?
Tomatoes.
Tomatoes. Can you give me a third?
You can add Rutgers or Bonnie Best or many others.
Very, very good. Nice going. How about this last part of the question? Mammoth White Cory, howling mob. Mammoth White Cory, howling mob. Professor Posey?
My guess is corn.
Corn, your guesser is very good.
And there are many others, of course. There's
Can you
Golden
name
Bantam and Stoll's Evergreen and so on and so forth.
Very good. Good farming. Now, speaking of gardening, let's try this question from Mrs. Grace O'Hara of New York City. If you came across a woolly bear in your garden, what could you learn from it? Well, now, let's see. Harvey?
Well, if he had a white brown band around it with the black, he's really black. But if he had a white brown band around there, you could start gardening more faster because that means a mild winter. And two, then you couldn't have to put the dirt over the roses and the vegetables too much. Then, because it would be a mild winter.
Well, very good. Now, Professor...
And he's sort of a weather prophet.
You what?
He's sort of a weather prophet.
A weather prophet. Well, now, Professor Posey, you had your hand up. What would you say about that?
Absolutely correct.
We'll go into our English class for this next question from Mrs. Gladys Mills of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. See if you can identify the authors of the following quotations. You must get 2 out of 3. In each instance, the quotation begins with the word O. Here's the first one. O powerful western fallen star, O shades of night, O moody tearful night, O great star disappeared, O the bar. Not a hand up. Is your hand up, Professor Lee, or are you just
sort
down
of?
Today? Huh?
Yes, sort of up.
What
that might be from Whitman's When Lilacs Last in the Dooryard Bloomed, or it's...
That's just what it's from. That's right. When Lilacs Last in the Dooryard Bloomed by Walt Whitman. Now here's the next one. Oh, the moon shines bright on Mrs. Porter, and on her daughter they wash their feet in soda water. Professor Lee?
That's by T.S. Eliot's Wasteland, I believe.
The Wasteland, that's absolutely right. Now we have 2 of them. Here's the third one. Oh, that this too solid flesh would melt, thaw, and resolve itself into a dew. Patrick?
Well, that's from the play Hamlet, but William Shakespeare wrote the
That's right, by Shakespeare. Now, friends, you heard the students in the cheering section a little earlier in the program, and now, at the request of Mrs. Sophie Baker of Detroit, Michigan, they will help us out with this question. You will hear a cheer that mentions the mascot of some university, and you are to identify the university. All right, here's the first one.
Yay! Rock! Backer!
Boy, look at the hands go up real quick there. Let's see. Professor Posey's hand was first.
University of Wisconsin. Badger's their mascot.
That's right. Professor Lee, weren't you on the faculty at Wisconsin?
I was just a student there one summer.
Oh, I see now. Well, I just wanted to clear that up. Let's see now. Here's the next one. Let's listen.
Rock, 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 rock. Yay, liar!
Pat's hands
Oh,
up
that would
first.
be Columbia, for one. There are probably some others.
Columbia, that's very, very good. Professor Evans, weren't you on the faculty at Columbia?
I was a graduate student.
Oh, I see. All right, here's the last one.
T-I-G-E-R-S-T-I-G-E-R-S-T-I-G-E-R-S. Yay, liar!
All right, Lottie's hand was up first.
Well, Princeton.
Princeton, that's right, And, Professor Hatt, weren't you at Princeton?
Yes,
what? You were. I see. All right, now then, I wonder how many of you folks have heard about the plan for taking Alka-Seltzer before you go to bed. Well, it's a mighty good one. Tell us about it, will you, Bob Murphy?
You bet, Joe. Friends, always keep this in mind. First aid for acid indigestion, Alka-Seltzer. Then, when late hours and a good time with good friends call for late refreshments, remember these can sometimes add up to discomfort the next morning. So after that late party, before you go to bed, drink a glass of sparkling, refreshing Alka-Seltzer. Yes, take Alka-Seltzer before you go to bed. Let Alka-Seltzer relieve acid indigestion, and as a result, you'll sleep better and you'll wake up feeling better the next morning. That sounds like a wonderful idea, doesn't it? And it is. Just try it and see. Take Alka-Seltzer before you go to bed. See about that Alka-Seltzer supply now, folks. And remember, if those tablets are down to 4, that's the time to buy some more. Some more Alka-Seltzer.
All right, now, quiz kids and professors, let's take a quick look at the score before we go into our third and final round of questions. The judges say that the quiz kids are 120 points and the professors are 130 points. Hey! Team, now, come on, quiz kid. You're really going to have to get going here. All right, here's a question from Mrs. Evelyn Drake of Miami, Florida. And it seems very appropriate for our program today. Our contestant, one of our contestants, Professor McGovern, is running for United States Representative for the 13th District. Now, let's suppose right now that there's no question about it. He is elected. See if any of you can name 8 of his colleagues from Illinois. Professor McGovern's hand is not up. Well, maybe you'll get acquainted a little bit later on with them. Pat's hand was up first.
Well, as far as I can remember, let's see, there's Representative Dawson, O'Hara, Linehan, Buckley, Gorski, O'Brien, Sabas, Gordon, Yates, Hoffman, Chesney, Jonas, Allen, Aaron, Mason. Very good, Patrick, my boy. Now, Professor McGovern, now you know who they are. Yes.
Glad to meet you.
All right, now then, Mrs. Emma Foster of Los Angeles, California, directs this question to our panel of professors. She wants to know if there's anything to this absent-minded professor idea. We'd like to hear your arguments, pro and con, on this. You may use yourselves as examples, if you like. Or, who would like to... All right, Professor Evans.
Well,
you've got to tell me more than that.
Minded.
What?
They're not absent.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's see, Professor Posey.
I disagree. Professors at times concentrate so thoroughly upon what they're doing, they seem to be absent-minded so far as other things are concerned.
Uh-huh. So you think that they are absent-minded?
I could even cite myself.
Oh? In what respect?
Leaving my car and taking the bus home at the end of the day.
Well, let's see what the rest of our folks here in the grown-up category out. Professor McGovern.
That isn't as bad as Dr. Posey did, as I'd left my wife behind one time and took me 2 days to find her.
And how about you, Professor Hatt?
Oh, I've never lost anything more serious than my place in a lecture.
Oh, And what would you say to this, Professor Lee?
Well, I don't think we're particularly absent-minded. We can't be these days. Got to keep on our toes, except at a time like this.
Well, I think you're doing mighty fine, yes. Now then, here's one from Mrs. Bernice Mason of Miami, Florida. The following dates suggest the anniversaries of what important events? You must get 2 out of 3. This is really a tough one. December 7th. December 7th, Professor Hatt.
Pearl Harbor.
That's right, Pearl Harbor. How about September 2nd? September 2nd. Joel?
I believe that's the peace treaty with Japan.
That's VJ Day. Mm-hmm. How about June 13th? June 13th. Professor McGovern, did you have your hand up?
No, I didn't know.
Oh. June 13th. Well, Professor Posey, this is most embarrassing. That happens to be your wife's birthday.
I'm afraid to go home.
Beg pardon?
I'm afraid to go home now.
I'm inclined to think we all agree with you that what you said professors are absent-minded. Well, of course, you all heard the school bell. That means our question session is over, class. This next puzzler is for the judges. Which team won? The professors or the quiz kids? And here is the answer. The judges report that as a class, you didn't miss any questions this afternoon. The quiz kids come up with a score of 140 points, and the professors 160. Howdy. Northwestern University can take a bow. It's not often that the quiz kids lose. In fact, it has only happened once before. But you youngsters need not be downhearted. You certainly made these men of letters work for this honor. Yes, congratulations to both teams. You did a fine job. And as usual, you quiz kids will each receive a $100 savings bond from the makers of Alka-Seltzer to help you with your future education. And to each of you professors, our sponsor is sending one of those wonderful table model Zenith radio phonographs for participating so splendidly this afternoon. Yes, this has been another great session in radio's famous classroom of the year. It was indeed a pleasure to originate our Quiz Kids program from the campus of Northwestern University here in Evanston, and we want to thank all of you for your enthusiasm and hospitality. Now, next Sunday, friends, we're celebrating our birthday. That's right. It will be the 500th broadcast of the Quiz Kids radio program, and we're planning a very special show. In class, we'll have 5 baby quiz kids. Brenda Liebling, age 6. Melvin Miles, age 6. Harvey Deitch, 6. Bobby Sinescu, 7, and little Wendy Stocking, only 4 years old. Yes, sir, it looks like the Easter Bunny is going to have his hands full, to say nothing of poor little me. And we'd like to have all you listeners on hand to help us celebrate on this special day in school, so plan to be with us, won't you? Yes, we'd like to mark you present in class Easter Sunday. So until then, this is Joe Kelly dismissing class. Goodbye, kids. Bye, Kelly. Goodbye, professors. Goodbye.
Don't take chances. Take one-a-day brand multiple vitamin capsules. Lack of vitamins pulls you down, makes you feel and look dull and listless. A one-a-day brand multiple vitamin capsule every day supplies your needs of the essential vitamins and prevents vitamin deficiency disease. Remember, you feel better, work better, look better when you get all the vitamins you need. Don't take chances. Take one-a-day brand multiple vitamin capsules. They always come in the blue carton displaying the big white 1. Potency Geltzer.
Listen to the Quiz Kids coast to coast every Sunday afternoon and see and hear Alka-Seltzer's Quiz Kids television show over NBC. Consult your local newspaper for time and station. This is Bob Murphy speaking.
Tonight, Cornell Wilde and Walter Houston star on Theater Guild on NBC. WMAQ and WMAQ-FM, NBC in Chicago.